I got a message from a client. Well, I give him a free coaching session, but I guess technically he's a client. And I'll put the screenshot up on the screen. But this really hit home for me. And it's always nice to get messages like this. It shows me that I'm doing the right thing, which is showing guys how to be smart about women without hating women and being angry with women. I mean, you're going to be angry with women at various points in your life, even if you try really, really hard not to, right? Because you still have the seed of anger in you, right? It's very difficult to totally eradicate anger, but we should learn how to manage it correctly. And a lot of what can release anger is wisdom and knowledge and understanding that, first of all, your anger with women is not going to help at all. The only positive benefit of anger is to remind you to not put yourself in situations, because you're choosing to interact with women who would do X or Y that'll piss you off, right? Cheat on you, lie to you, blah, blah, blah. And the signs are usually very obvious when a girl is toxic, right? The only use of anger is to remind you not to be put into situations where you can allow women to do the things that will piss you off. That's the only use of anger, to be a reminder to not be a simp, not be an idiot, not date the wrong girl, not etc. Right? Give girls opportunities to take advantage of you. That's the only use of anger. The rest of it, you're just holding on to a hot coal and burning yourself, thinking that you're. And dude, I get it. I'm such an angry person. Not really with women anymore. I've really gotten rid of a lot of anger towards women. In the romantic sexual aspect, right? I can still get mad at a person who happens to be a woman, but I really don't have any anger towards women in general. Like, oh, women are sluts or women are cheaters or liars. Like, I've pretty much gotten rid of a lot of that cynical bitterness. But I've had it. I've had a lot of it, and I've had to deal with it because of experiences, obviously, that you've all encountered. And probably my experiences with women, there's a few exceptions, but probably trump any of yours. Like, horrible shit involving women, trying to ruin my life, and cheating on me or doing this or doing, like, I've had some real shit happen to me. Okay, so anything that you have, I probably trumped it. Outside of a few exceptions, some of you might have a bigger sob story, but it doesn't fucking matter, right? I just say that to kind of like sober you up if you do have any anger towards women or bad experiences. So if I can get over my anger, you can too, right? But I've always had a huge love for women too, since a young age, just fascinated by women, even before I was, sexually inclined towards them, just kind of fascinated with their nature, in contrast to my own. But I don't want to deviate too much. I'll get back to that in a second. But this message that I got from this guy, that he's able to recognize when a girl, I'll put our full coaching session on my channel soon. I still have to upload it. I'm just being lazy about it. But I gave this guy a free coaching session. And one of the things we went over is an addiction abuse that he has. And he has a sort of a on and off relationship with this girl that involves this substance. I guess I just speak fucking directly. They would get together and do drugs and then, fuck and have, a lot of fun. And I was kind of curious. I was like, wait, because he told me about this girl that he's casually seeing for like over a year. And I'm like, usually when you casually see a girl, there's a ticking clock on that. Like, you get like 3 months, usually max. It could maybe go to 6, but generally 3 months before she moves on to find something serious, because someone starts catching feelings. It's almost impossible to avoid when you're having sex together and bonding like that. And so usually one of them moves on, or just doesn't enjoy being around the other person anymore and cuts it off. But he was like, oh yeah, we've been seeing each other off and on for X amount of time, and it's a long time. I'm like, holy shit, there's only really one reason you would continue seeing each other, is something extra is involved, right? Outside of some really rare exceptions, like some girls can just have casual sex for a long time. There's a very few amount of girls who could do that. They're usually very emotionally disconnected from sex. But I could tell that there was something behind it. And then he revealed it to me, So this was the guy who sent this screenshot. and is very beautiful to see because he's understanding exactly what I try to teach, right? And that is basically this middle ground between here's like being a blue pill beta, et cetera, whatever kind of buzzwords you want to use, right? And then here's like red pill and being angry with women, right? And a lot of red pill stuff out there is angry with women. You can just see it from their content. Like, it's so fucking obvious. I wouldn't say they're necessarily misogynists. I mean, that's a very extreme thing to claim. I could just tell they're very angry with women. I don't think they hate women, because if you actually hated women, you really wouldn't be like wanting to spend time with them. Right. It's kind of a contradiction. But clearly they're very angry with women, or they wouldn't spend so much time bitching about them. Right. But of course that anger comes from being hurt. Right. Which, again, demonstrates that they do actually like them, because women wouldn't have that kind of power over them unless they really wanted women, but then got heartbroken because women treat them badly. But then they usually end up being the thing they hate too. Whatever X thing they hate about women, they end up just doing the converse, like, way of it, like using women. Oh, but then if she's a slut, oh, it's a bad thing. They end up just being the thing they hate. But they do have some ideas that are true, right? They kind of look at the blue pill, their old self, and they get angry, and they're like, oh, this is when I simped, even though, like, there's been controversies where these guys are, like, paying women or, using their influence to sleep with women, and, and it's like, dude, you're literally everything that you fucking hate. Like, you say you hate women being gold diggers and et cetera, and then you're enabling it. It's like, fuck, man. What a goddamn, inconsistent moral framework, but okay. But they look at this and they're like, oh, yeah, I used to simp. I used to do this. I used to think girls are all angels and Disney princesses. And, that's good that you don't believe that anymore, because it is silly, right? Because there's so many things wrong with seeing women, idealizing women as these pure princesses. Like, it'll enable you to get taken advantage of, but it's also just wrong. Like, they're sexual beings just as much as us. But that's a lot of what creates the anger, is realizing women are sexual beings, but then, a lot of times these guys want monopoly over it and they want to control it. But then at the same side, right, you start going too far over here, and then you forget some things that are just true. Like, yeah, like, you can't, if you have a monogamous relationship with a woman, yes, she should strictly be adhering to that contract, that moral contract. And if she breaks it, that makes her a bad person, or at least someone who did a bad thing. And you should hold people accountable to it, but you shouldn't be so extreme where you're driven by paranoia and fear and anger, where you start being tyrannical. So that's where, like, whatever blue pill or naive perspective can actually come in handy, where you're just, you're very nice and you care about, like, you have to have that teddy bear lovey-dovey aspect of yourself, right? It can't be the entirety of your personality, because then you get taken advantage of. But if you go too far on this extreme, trying to get away from this, then you end up just becoming the thing you hate, which is what happens, right? So you need that lovey-dovey hippie fucking bullshit to a certain extent inside of you, right? And so when he leaves that message where he says, I can recognize when a girl is not a girlfriend quality girl for X or Y reason, right? She likes to do coke. She's a party girl, she's promiscuous, she's et cetera, right? I can recognize that without then, you can put it here, baby. Thank you. My amazing wife just cooked me dinner. Thank you, baby. You can recognize that a girl doesn't make a good girlfriend or a wife, right? Based on traits and patterns. But it doesn't mean you have to judge her. Now, let's use judgment correctly. Like, you don't have to hate her, right? We can judge her. We can say, you're this, you're that, you're this, which technically, I guess, is a judgment. But the connotation of judgment we're using here is like, you fucking hate them, right? Like, you're driven to anger. Like, oh my God, this fucking bitch slut, she fucking, these hoes, they're degrading Western society. And then you start cosplaying as some fucking Templar of Western civilization, and you're not. You're just an angry fucking, little dick bitch. But, because men who are like truly high value, right, are getting their dick sucked by awesome hot girls, and they're not fucking upset about girls being sluts and stuff. It's just like, you know, but I get it. I see, you know, in my own heart, all the same evil that I can see in other people doing, right? So I have sympathy, kind of like this. Like, one of my struggles is seeing these guys and then getting angry at them. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are just so fucking stupid with all these dumb ideologies and inconsistent frameworks. And then I find myself getting angry, and then like, oh wait, I'm doing the same thing that I hate, right? And so I have to have empathy for them. I have to understand them. I have to understand that I've gone through phases where I felt the way that they feel, you know, towards other people, and still deal with anger towards people in general, right? So I have to have empathy for people in that state. But it's really great to see that guys who I'm helping are learning nuance in their perspectives on dating. And this is a big one. Your ability to be smart with women without being angry with women. Yeah, you shouldn't date this girl. She has fucking red flags. I can recognize that without hating her. I love this analogy that I always try to use. It's like, you know, a girl who would be a girlfriend or a wife. It's the same as making someone the CFO of your company, right? The chief financial officer. You're not going to hire someone who's bad with money, like a friend of yours, right? Your friend's like, hey man, you know, your company's really doing well. I want to join, you think you can get me a position? And you're like, okay, I want to do him a solid, And then let's say for whatever reason you're considering him as a CFO. And then you think to yourself, well, he's really fucking bad with money. I've lent him money on, you know, so many occasions. He doesn't pay me back. Clearly he's irresponsible. He says he never has money, but then he'll go out and, you know, partying and clubbing and buy a bunch of drinks, or, you know, he'll buy nice clothes. And it's like, clearly this dude should not be fucking in charge of the finances of my company. It doesn't mean I hate him, right? But he's just not suited for the position. Same thing when it comes to considering a girl as a girlfriend or a wife. You're great in a lot of ways. She might be hot, she might be beautiful, she might be cool and interesting and this and that. But fuck, dude, she has some red flags that clearly her moral compass, her discipline, her consistency, her character, not quite consistent enough for me to bring you so close into my life that you're going to be the person I have to lean on, or, you know, deal with troubles with, or if like I go through shit, are you going to abandon me? You know, are you going to be a good influence on our future son and daughter, right? I can recognize that you don't fit that role without hating you. And that's what I aim to teach men, and what you should strive to understand. You cannot be a simp. You can not be, you know, a guy who doesn't get laid. You cannot be a guy who doesn't get taken advantage of by women. You cannot be a guy who doesn't get taken advantage of by other men in social situations. You cannot be a guy who doesn't understand how to run a relationship and to pick up girls, whatever, right? You can do all of that. You can avoid all of the pitfalls that any beta, nerd, cuck, whatever buzzword you want to use, will fall for, without then also becoming a piece of fucking shit. It's possible to be in that zone of nuance. I love the word nuance. The ability to understand there are contextual little details when you're dealing with something as complex as dating and relationships. It's possible, but it's really fucking hard. Almost every other dating coach on the earth, men and women, fall into extremes. And it's because they either don't have the experience or they don't have the wisdom. They could have the experience, but not the wisdom to actually get lessons from their experience. Right? You can be a retard 1,000 times. You should have learned your lesson by mistake number 723. But, you know, you got to have some self-reflective qualities and I guess a certain threshold of intelligence to problem solve through all of your fuck-ups. Or third, they lack the ability to articulate what they're trying to teach you. There's people out there who probably have a decent idea how to do things. They're just horrible at articulating. Or they're morally culpable and they just take advantage of, I guess this is situation number 4, where they know that inflammatory marketing is very profitable, right? They may not act like how they portray on video, but they're definitely going to portray a character that is very easy to latch on to, right? There's a lot of people on YouTube who are like that. But I suppose that actually puts them into the category where they lack wisdom, because someone with wisdom wouldn't be doing that, right? Because that's lying and deceit. So you gotta have this ability to not fall into this trap of, gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta not be a simp, I gotta not do this, I can't. Any rules that you believe in dating, you probably are too extreme about them. There are some things that are extreme, that are like pretty black and white. I would say almost always, like, if a girl has ever cheated in the past, don't date her. Like, just fucking, it's just a 99.999% thing. Just don't do it. Sorry. Don't have an open relationship. Just a 99.99999%, actually 100%, right? There was a time where I was like gung-ho about one-sided monogamy for a man. Like, I can fuck other girls, but she's, loyal to me, kind of like a king situation. But I just, every time I just realized, like, there was something in the back of my mind is like, you think this is an exception, but it's just something about it feels off. And I just couldn't, it's like, I love her, I can love her while still fucking other girls, but I was just like, something isn't right, and I sometimes still kind of consider it as a possibility, but I'm just like, I don't know. Right. But I feel like the more I think about it, it's not an exception, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. So just full monogamy all the way, right? But like, definitely don't do open relationships. Like, fuck, man, you're just literally pimping out your chick. Like, it's just like, right. So there are things that are black and white, right? But there's so many other things that are nuanced as fuck, right? Like, not crying in front of a girl, right? It's like, it depends on the context. Depends what you're crying about, how you're crying, and the person you're dealing with, right? How many red flags are too much? What makes a 10 out of 10? Like, there's so many things that are so subjective and nuanced that require a lot of context. Rules in seduction, right? Guys think, you can't show your intentions. Like, that's fucking, I'm living proof that's wrong. Like, I'm so direct about it, my intentions with women. I'll tell them I want to fuck them. So not only in seduction and relationships, but perspectives and philosophies on women, there's so much fucking details and nuance, and you can learn them without then becoming, because when you get rejected X amount of times, and when you see people, you go out to bars and clubs and you see how people fucking treat you, and they'll fucking gut you to get pussy. Like, dudes will fucking beat the shit out of you and torment you, and girls will embarrass you and get you in fights just for their own fucking entertainment. Like, you'll see some real dark ass shit, like just absolute scum of society, worthless cunts. You will run into people like that, and you're like, holy fuck, I'm dealing with demons. Like, you're going to see that shit, and you're going to want to be hateful and spiteful, right? But guess how they got there? They didn't get there by accident. They got there, probably someone fucked them over, so they're like, okay, dog eat dog world, and so they became a dog. But don't become a dog. Be a fucking man, right? Don't stoop to their level. A lot of shitty people out there, a lot of reasons for you to get angry. I know. I've probably got more than you. But I've done my best to avoid it. At least within the realm of, like, dating and relationships. I've really, really worked a lot on my anger towards women. But I still struggle with anger towards dudes. Like, fuck, man. Like, yeah, so I get it. It's a work in progress. But at least with dating and relationships, I have managed. That's why I have such jerking myself off here, but why I have such detailed, complex stances on a lot of things is because it requires me to explain in detail. Because it needs detail. Because if I don't give you detail, if I don't over-explain things, you're going to fall into the same trap everyone else is. That's why my content is so different and unique. Everyone else is putting out flashy fucking shit. Get her in 5 steps. And it's like, it's just so hard for me to do that type of content because if I put it out there, I know that I'm giving someone only half the roadmap. And that feels bad. It feels horrible because it's not going to help them. I'd rather help fewer people really well than a lot of people half-assed. I'd rather fuck 100 chicks really, really well than than 2 pump 1,000. It's just, I guess it's just a preference and also somewhat of a moral, not even a dilemma, just a question of morality, right? So it is possible to be smart about women without being angry towards them. And in fact, if you're smart about women, you're not angry with them. Because then you're not truly smart, because then you're not truly understanding what's going on. Because any reason you have to be angry towards women, I bet you are also culpable. Oh, fuck, I bet you fuck up so much. I bet, oh, God, there was such a funny fucking example. I have this girl client. She's bi, but she's mainly attracted to women. But she randomly was kind of got interested in guys again, so she went on Tinder or whatever and was talking to dudes. And she showed me some of the screenshots. And she was being like flirty Sue, she is just like, hey baby, what's up, Gord? Just super obviously that's gonna make guys go nuts, right? And I was like, okay, this is interesting to see you act like this. But then she's been struggling over the couple months with this girl who was giving her the runaround and kind of teasing her and leading her on for months. And I was trying my best. I was like, girl, you're just simping. She was being a nice guy simp who's always this other girl was being sexual with her too. So it wasn't just she was friend zoned, but she was being teased because this girl would always refuse to meet up. They would get on video chats. So she wasn't being catfished or anything. Right. And they would send each other all, explicit stuff, but she was getting teased. But it was so funny to see that just as she was dealing with that, she was then kind of being a tease with some of these dudes. And I was like, look, girl, you can't be complaining about someone who's playing you and seducing you, but then not following up. And then you're over here texting people like this and not really following through. It's you're being a little bit hypocritical. Not to the extent that this girl was doing it to her. The way this girl was playing her was pretty shitty. She was really, really leading her on. And it was cruel. But I could see the tinges of her doing the same time. And I was like, you know what? Oof, you're kind of acting like her, right? And that's what happens with a lot of people is they get fucked over, they get bit by the dog, and then they say, okay, I'm going to be a dog. You want to do dog shit? All right, I'll do dog shit. I'll do it better. And they just become the thing that they hate, right? And that's pretty much everyone on the internet. And it's both sides. All the dudes angry with women, if you could just fucking look in the mirror, you're exactly the thing that you hate. All the red pill dudes are MGTOW guys, I don't need women. You don't date these hoes. Dude, you literally sound like every fucking 35-year-old hoe who hit the wall and doesn't need no man, independent boss bitch, all the shit, that also is cringy on the female side. They sound exactly like them. I don't need girls. I don't need no man. It's the same fucking mantra. You sound just like her. You're probably going to end up with each other. You fucking both deserve each other because you both suck. You're just fucking shitty people, and usually when someone is that filled with vitriol and anger towards someone else from a moral outrage, usually that person who is being morally outraged is just as bad of a person. It's a projection. They hate the other person so much and they are literally the thing they hate, just in a different combination. It's very interesting to watch. But anyways, I've probably over explained myself a lot of times, but hopefully I've gotten my point across. You can be smart about women and know the games and play the game without being angry with them. Okay? That's my point. I suppose I have hopefully explained it. If you're interested in getting coaching with me, shoot me a DM on Instagram. That's a really good way to get in touch with me, or go to my website and sign up for a consultation. That's also, the links are in the description. But I might do a free coaching session sometime soon again. It's always nice, but I need to upload that one with that guy. I just need to edit it. But yeah, there's stuff in the description. Buy it. I have some courses. I have a texting book. You should get it. It'll fucking help you, right? This is the cool stuff that gets you like right-brained, gets you in the right perspective. But then you just have to do work, right? Once you have the right perspective, just go out and start approaching girls. Do the fucking work. Get your dick sucked. Guarantee a lot of your anger will go away when you're not fucking frustrated and horny, which is, again, a lot of the reason why these guys are fucking angry is because they're fucking horny, dude. They're just horny. I think it explains so much of the world, from fucking red-pilled dudes to suicide bombers. Like, you're just fucking horny as shit, and you got all this fucking anger, and you just, like, express it in the worst way possible. But anyways, discussion for another time. Love you guys. Go fuck yourself. I'll see you soon. Ciao.